right, 8th grade, good morning or good afternoon. We are jumping into lesson 4 today, where we're going to compare and contrast depictions of La Llorona. So we are going to continue reading. We've got to do the gist of chapters 18 and 19 and look at new vocabulary. And then you're going to start comparing the depictions of La Llorona by Joe Hayes that you read previously to how La Llorona is depicted in Summer of the Mariposas. Before we do that, let's go ahead and do the entrance ticket for today. So on page 112 in your student workbooks, and it says, what are the characteristics of La Llorona in Joe Hayes' version of the story? So please go ahead now and work to answer this. Pause the video. All right, guys, so if you've not had a chance yet, I would love for you to turn and talk, and then you guys can share out as a class. And hopefully your teacher can provide you with some guidance, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the responses, okay? Go ahead and pause the video and do that now. All right, guys, so here are some of your responses may have included something like this. So what are the characteristics of La Llorona in Joe Hayes' version of the story? She thinks she is the most beautiful woman, thinks she deserves the best, thinks she's better than everyone else, neglected by her husband, angry and full of rage, resents children, throws children in the river, and regrets throwing children in the river, and is grieving. Okay, so any of that would have been correct if you chose that for your answer. All right, guys, let's look at our learning targets for today. So first, we're going to be able to demonstrate understanding of excerpts of chapters 18 and 19 of Summer of the Mariposas. And then we're going to compare the depiction of La Llorona in La Llorona by Joe Hayes to the depiction of what you guys read in Summer of the Mariposas. So you guys want to read the excerpts today in chapter 18 and 19. So here are the excerpts. On chapter 18, you're going to read from page 286 to page 291, and then you're going to read from page 294 to 298. Then you're going to read chapter 19, page 300 to 301, and then you're going to read 304 to 311. After you're done, please record the gist for each chapter, and then we'll come back and I'll kind of share out some of the big things that have happened in those chapters. All right, so let's go ahead and pause the video and you guys can begin reading now. All right, guys, so now that you've had a chance to do that, let's talk about some of the big things that happen in each chapter. So chapter 18, the girls are taken into custody and questioned by the FBI at the border. The girls' mother arrive at the border, the family is reunited, and the girls give their mother roses. The FBI agent drives the girls and their mother back to the house and discover that their father is there. Mama is upset and crying while Papa promises he loves the girls and will not leave them again. That was chapter 18. Chapter 19, the girls realize that Papa has brought a woman and her 2 daughters to live in the house as well. The Garza sisters are upset about Papa's new family and his plans for them to start a new life together in the house. Papa explains that he plans on divorcing Mama and having her move out of the home, which upsets the girls even more. Papa becomes angry and unkind toward his daughters. He eventually leaves the house with his new family, and Odelia has a feeling that she and Mama and her sisters will not see him again. All right, guys. So we are now ready that you guys have read 18 and 19. The excerpts, we're ready to start comparing depictions of La Llorona. Okay, so please make sure you've recorded your gist. I just shared a synopsis of both chapters. So, we thought about today, what do we already know about the legend of La Llorona? What are the characteristics of La Llorona in La Llorona by Joe Hayes that we just read previously? So I want you guys to pause the video here and think, pair, share through these 2 questions again, okay? So I want you guys to generate some discussion. I want your teacher to generate some discussion about the characteristics that we're seeing come up, okay? Go ahead and pause the video and let's begin to do that. All right, guys, so we are going to move forward into back to our student workbooks, page 114 and 115. You have a note catcher, compare and contrast La Llorona. Where can La Llorona be found in each text? So go ahead, pause the video, and let's turn and talk and answer these 2 questions first. Where can La Llorona be found in each text? And what happens to La Llorona's children in each text? Okay, so let's go ahead and have some discussion around those 2 questions before you guys start working on your graphic organizer. All right, guys, so now that you've talked about that, you should be generating some ideas of what this comparison and contrast is going to look like. So let's compare depictions of La Llorona. So here's what you need. You need La Llorona by Joe Hayes. This is in your workbook. You need your copy of Summer of the Mariposa, and you need that note catcher that we just looked at, which is on page 114 and 115. I'm okay if you guys work with a partner on this. I prefer that if you do. Working with a partner, you're going to gather more facts and evidence from the two texts that reveal similarities in the two depictions of La Llorona. Key word today, guys, similarities, okay? How are they the same? What do you see that's the same in both versions, both of the texts that we read, okay? So I'm going to ask that you pause the video and you begin to work through this. When you come back, we're going to do one more thing together and then we'll be done for the day. All right, guys, so it's time to move on to the closing and assessment. So I want you guys to answer this question, whole group share. So I want you to have some discussion before we leave today. What are the similarities between the depiction of La Llorona in La Llorona by Joe Hayes and Summer of the Mariposas? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's have some discussion about that now as a whole class. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Your teacher can certainly leave this up, and I'm going to see you guys again very soon.